We're starting notes on Unit 3, so this is for my pre-AP classes. This is page 40 in your composition book, and for regular geometry, this is page 38. So this is a review from middle school where you learned about transversals, and transversals, it's a line that cuts through two or more other lines. So what I want to do on this, and you can do this with me or leave yours blank, but I'm going to highlight the two parallel lines here. Okay, these lines are parallel. And then the transversal, I'm going to highlight blue. And the transversal, again, is a line that intersects two or more other lines. Okay? So in this case, we're going to focus on, they don't have to be parallel, but we are going to focus on parallel lines because they have certain relationships. All right, so let's go through and review this vocabulary again that you've seen before, but you will need to know all of this and how to apply it. So the first one is alternate interior angle pairs, okay? Alternate interior. Interior means that we're talking about angles that lie between or inside, however you want to describe it, between or inside two lines, and in this case are parallel lines. So in this particular picture, if you look at it, we're talking about angles 3, 4, 5, and 6, how they are between the two parallel lines, okay? So that's the interior part. And they are on opposite sides of the transversal. So opposite sides of our blue line that I've highlighted up there. Okay. So alternate interior, we're talking about opposite and between the two yellow lines. So the first example they gave us is angle 4 and angle 6. Okay, that would be a pair of alternate interior. The other pair would be angles 3 and 5. Okay, so those two go together and those two go together. All right, another thing I want to add, instead of giving you a separate page of notes, we are on this page, we're defining and being able to identify the different angle pairs, but I also want to introduce you to the theorems that go with these angle pairs. So the alternate interior angle theorem tells us that these alternate interior angles are going to be congruent. And I'm just using the angle symbol. You can write it out if you want. But the theorem says that alternate interior angles are congruent to each other. So 3 and 5 would be congruent, same measure. 4 and 6 would be congruent, same measure. All right, let me clean up up here. Okay, so let me put these back in. I'm not going to mark them up so much for the next ones. Okay. Alternate exterior, okay? So they're still going to be, I'm going to kind of jump around this definition. They're alternate still, so they're going to be on opposite sides of the blue line, but they are going to be outside the two parallel lines, okay? So outside the yellow lines, but opposite sides of the transversal. So they give us the example of 1 and 7. Okay, so see how those two angles are outside of the yellow ones, not between them, but outside them, and they're on opposite sides of the blue line, so alternate exterior. The other two would be 2 and 8. Exterior, but opposite sides of the transversal. So angles 1 and 7 and 2 and 8. Okay, the alternate exterior angles theorem will say that these angles, these pairs of angles, are also congruent. And I'm going to use the symbols there just to cut down on our writing. But remember, that means congruent. If you don't know that, write out the word. Okay, let's look at the next type. Erase these little marks. Okay, corresponding angle pairs. This is a very visual thing to me. Corresponding angle pairs are angles in matching corners. And I'm going to show you what that means in just a minute. In matching corners of a figure formed by two lines and a transversal. So matching corners, what in the world is that talking about? Okay, take a look at the picture and watch what I'm going to do here. Do you see up here where the blue line intersects this top yellow line? You get 4 angles right there. Okay, you've got 4 angles there. And then on the bottom yellow line, the blue line also intersects, and you've got 4 angles there. All right, so when we're talking about matching corners, and it gave us the example of angle 1 and angle 5. Those are corresponding angles, okay? And when it talks about matching corners, look at the little rectangles I kind of drew around those. Angle 1 is in the top left of that box, and angle 5 is in the top left of that box. So they're in matching corners. Another corresponding pair would be 2 and 6. Those are in the matching corners. They're in the top right corner. So top right, top right. So 2 and 6 would also match. 3 and 7 are both in the bottom right corners of those boxes. So 3 and 7. And there's actually one more pair that they didn't really give us any blanks for, but 4 and 8. 4 and 8, angle 4 and angle 8 are also, they're the 4th pair of corresponding angles, and they're in the bottom left corners of each of those boxes. Okay, so all those are corresponding angle pairs. Okay, there is a corresponding angle theorem, and it tells us that corresponding angles, like the other two, are also congruent to each other. So 1 and 5 are the same measure, 2 and 6 are the same, 3 and 7 are the same, 4 and 8 are the same. All right. Those are the 3 congruent angle pairs, okay? The last 2 on the bottom are not congruent, so we're going to see what those are. If you'll follow along and look at your picture, consecutive or same side interior angles, and I'm going to use the word, I'm going to call them same side. Either consecutive or same side, they're both acceptable, okay? Mean the same thing. But consecutive interior angles or same side interior angles are angles that lie between the 2 yellow lines because they're interior, but they are on the same side of the blue line, so the same side of the transversal. Same side of the transversal. So they gave us 4 and 5, and I've got my picture so marked up now, but let me kind of erase. They said 4 and 5, okay, so we're talking same side interior. 4 and 5 are both on the same side of the blue transversal, but they are inside between the 2 yellow lines. So the other set of same side interior would be 3 and 6. Okay, so 3 and 6. Let me go back over here. I can say 4 or 5 and 3 and 6. If you look at your picture, you can probably tell that those angles do not look congruent, and they are not, okay? So the theorem that goes with same side interior angles theorem says that these angle pairs are supplementary. And hopefully you remember what that means, but if you don't, you may want to write down 180. So if you add up angle 4 and angle 5, it'll equal 180. If you add up angle 3 and angle 6, they will also add up to 180. Now here's why I like to use same side interior as the name of these, is because all your same side angles are supplementary. So you've got all those S's. Same side supplementary. So same side interior angles are supplementary. And for our last pair, our same side exterior are also supplementary. So the same side exterior will be angles that lie outside the two yellow parallel lines. So outside the parallel lines, but they are on the same side of the transversal. So they give us the example of 1 and 8. Let's see, I'm going to make them red. So 1 and 8, look. Oops, I said red there. 1 and 8 are both exterior angles on the same side, kind of below the blue transversal. And then the other pair would be 2 and 7. So 2 and 7 would be our other examples, 1 and 8 and 2 and 7. And just like the same side interior, the same side exterior theorem says that these angles are also supplementary. All right. So then we got some colored pencils or highlighters or whatever you want to use. And on page 39 or 41, depending on which class you're in, we had that long vertical strip of paper that said color-coded angle reference, okay? So this is just another visual to be able to identify these angles. So first set, alternate interior, okay? So interior angles, remember, are between our parallel lines. So if I highlight 3, number 3, what is its alternate interior pair? For 3 and 6, they're both interior, but they're on the opposite sides of that transversal. And then the other pair would be 4 and 5, okay? Interior, but opposite sides of the transversal. Remember, those will be congruent. Okay? Alternate exterior, okay? So they're on the outside, so I would match up 1, and then on the other side of the transversal, on the other outside would be 8. So 1 and 8, they're far apart from each other. The other pair would be 2 and 7, okay? And those pairs are congruent to each other. Now, the reason I'm using different colors is because 1 and 8 are congruent to each other, 2 and 7 are congruent to each other, but like 1 and 2 are not, okay? So only the matching colored ones are congruent to each other. Okay. Corresponding angles, we're going to need 4 colors. Okay, so remember our boxes. If I have this box, this imaginary box around 1, 2, 3, and 4, if I choose angle 1, corresponding to angle 1 will be angle 5. Okay, they're both in the top left of those invisible boxes. I'm not really drawing them. Okay, 2 and 6 would be the bottom left. Okay, so the matching corners, 2 and 6. Those would pair up. 3 and 7 will pair up. Those are corresponding. And then 4 and 6 are corresponding. And corresponding angles are also congruent. So all of those are congruent. The ones I have colored are congruent to their matching color angle. And then below those, but mine are actually over here, below those, let's color code our consecutive interior angles, okay? So same side, 3 and 5, look, they're inside, but they're on the same side of the transversal. So 3 and 5 are together there. And then I could highlight 4 and 6 together. So those are the 2 pairs of consecutive interior angles. And those are supplementary. And then lastly, our consecutive or same side exterior. 1 is an exterior angle, and its partner is way over here with 7. Okay, so they're both on the top of the transversal, but exterior angles. And then we compare up 2 is exterior with 8 that's exterior also. Those are also supplementary. We ended up going over these last 2 examples. I'm going to talk through them real quick. If you want to stop the video and try these out yourself and then come back and check, you can do that. Can you identify these angle pairs? So this is what you're going to need to be able to do. Looking at this diagram here, D and H would be corresponding angles. They would be congruent to each other, corresponding angles. C and F, okay, they are on the same side. They're both interior, so they would be consecutive interior angles or same side interior angles. Same side interior or consecutive interior. Either will work. A and G, they are way far apart from each other. They are both exterior angles, but they are on the opposite sides of the transversal. So we would call that alternate exterior, almost said interior, alternate exterior angles. And then the last pair, B, okay, that's an exterior, and G is also an exterior, but they're both on the same side of the transversal, so they'd be called consecutive or same side exterior angles. The last 4 examples for our notes is it says give a pair of angles for each of these. Well, there's more than one answer, but let's just do these. Consecutive interior, we could say, okay, so inside and right next to each other on the same side of the transversal would be same side interior, consecutive interior. So we could say D and E, put the angle sign there, or you could say C and F. Corresponding, there's so many. I want to say B and F. Okay, so in the same bottom left corner. Okay. Alternate interior, I might say, let's use C as interior, and alternate on the other side would be E. So C and E, or D and F. I highlighted C and E. And then lastly, let me get a new color. I'll do that color. Alternate exterior, why don't we do some we haven't used? Exterior here, but on the other side, A and G. So those would be your examples of alternate exterior, A and G or B and H. Okay. So at this point, a couple of assignments. All the classes had to do page 1 of your packet. For regular geometry, you're shading in the boxes. Okay, that's the start, the first row, top row. Pre-AP, your page 1 is a little different. But all of you also have in Schoology posted a Blooket assignment. You can play the game, any game you want, or you can just answer the questions. For quicker, I would just answer the questions, okay? But those are easier than the problems I have in your packet, okay? So just some easier practice will be in Blooket. The link is in Schoology.